Hi, this is Mary Beth Shaw. Welcome back to Stencil School. I am going to show you something today that is not really a stencil. We're going to actually make a stamp from a stencil. And it's because I need this particular stamp. I had made it before and I don't know where it is. So let's make one together, okay? I'm going to turn the camera and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so I love this stencil. This is a Carolyn Dubie stencil that I adore. And it is, you know how stencils are. Wherever the openings are is where you get the color, right? When you put down the paint or the ink or whatever it is you're using. What I want to be able to do is to replicate this line work. And you couldn't really do that with a stencil. You'd have to bridge the heck out of it. And anyway, so we're not going to do that. We're going to put it underneath a Teflon baking sheet. And we're going to take a rubbing of it. I've got a little child's crayon that I do rubbings with these. And the stencil's underneath there, and then we're going to just make a rubbing of it so that you can see this design, okay? And then we're going to make, we don't need the stencil underneath there anymore. We're going to use our hot glue gun to go over this design and make a little hot glue stamp, okay? So I think I'm gonna turn this way as I work. I don't necessarily want it to be a rectangle like this. We'll see how it goes, but I am using my hot glue gun that plugs in. I was trying this before I started filming, and I was using my my cordless one. And for working the duration it takes to do this, the cordless was not the best choice, okay? I'm just saying. You maybe would be quicker than me, but I was not quick enough. So we're going to do this now. Let's see here. I want to make sure the glue's coming out. Okay, there it is. That's what I was looking for. So I'm going to just go over these lines that I've made. And the thing I like about working like this is that it's going to be super organic. It's not like it's going to be real precise, you know. I have loved this stencil ever since Carolyn Dubie designed it. It has been one of my faves. And, you know, she's not into small stencils so much, but I would love to have a little smaller version of this one too. Note to self, need to talk to Carolyn about this. This is a stencil that we've had almost since the beginning. The number is in the 200s, which means, you know, we have, you know, we're up over 1,000 now in this particular size. So we've had this stencil for a long time. And it's called Wonky Eyes, and it's just one of my faves, right? Okay, so I think I might have added an extra line there. I'm not sure, but this is the advantage of doing this like this. You can take some artistic liberties, right? Because you can draw this thing any way you like it. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These two are not connected. I think I'm going to go ahead and connect them, because typically if you can connect them, they'll hold up better. And I'm going to put this down. Now I'm going to pull the other side of the baking sheet on top, and I'm going to just gently go over it with a brayer. And this will like flatten it out, because otherwise it would kind of be gloppy in certain areas. And so this will be helpful to make it more usable. now that I've got the Teflon sheet over it, I can feel that it's, you know, it's cooling actually pretty quickly. So let's pull this up. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. So we'll just pull this up. And let me just tell you, okay, I tried this with parchment. I tried it with acetate. I tried it with a bunch of different substrates, okay? And really, the baking, the Teflon baking sheet is for sure the best thing to use. Okay, now here is an issue right here. Like, I'm gonna see if I can pull this up. You can see when I was drawing, I did not connect these that well, and this one over here, I didn't connect either. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna get a little pair of scissors here and snip this off. And then sometimes you have these little stringy parts too. You can take those out if you want. Let's see here. I don't know where that other one went that I messed up. Okay, so, you know, I might just leave it like that. I could always make another one. There's no, you know, no problem with that. Now I'm going to get a piece of paper and we shall see how this works, okay? I'm going to do 2 different colors here. These are my Paper Artsy Fresco Finish paints. You have seen me making so many papers, you're probably thinking, what on earth, Mary Beth? How many collage papers do you need? Well, I need a bunch because this is how I make the majority of my work is with collage, right? And I love making collage papers. So it's pretty much what I do. And when I'm working in my journal or working on my art or just anything, that's what I do. I pull out, you know, my collage papers, and that's where I start. Now I'm going to put some of the real stencil here in the background. I'm going to just get some paint. And as we do it, those of you who have seen me do this a million times, I usually pounce. I try not to swipe too much side to side. I do more of a pouncing because it keeps it pretty crisp, the paint, where it deposits the paint. Okay, now if you do go, like I can go a little bit here, side by side, because this stencil is a very sturdy stencil. Okay, lovely, look at that, lovely. Now I'm gonna get some of the orange, and I'm gonna go on top of our little stamp. I could use the actual ink pad for this, like for rubber stamping. I could use anything I wanted, but I kind of wanted to just stay with these paints that I had out here. And we'll see how this turns out. And then we're gonna flip it upside down. And then I'm gonna pull this back and use that brayer again because I want to put some even pressure on it. Okay. And it dries out pretty quick. And here's some that came from the other side. So note to self, right? Maybe, you know, we could do some different ways of, you know, depositing the ink on here. Let's try this stamp pad and see. Ooh, look at that. That looks like that's got some potential right there, I'll have to say. That's pretty gorgeous. Let's try just pressing it down with our hands. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. This is the kind of thing I love to achieve in my work, when I can get the layers of the positive and the negative to come up on the work. If you saw me jerk, it's because I just touched the tip of the hot glue gun with my finger. Yes, okay. Did not mean to, obviously. I do love this, though. I think I'm going to make another one and maybe even go wider. I mean, this is the thing, since you can be very experimental, you can also just make your own stamps. They don't have to be based on our stencils. But in this particular case, that's what I really wanted to do, was to come up with something like this, because when I go to work with this as a collage element, this type of a push-pull, positive, negative is exactly what I'm looking for. I mean, I find that very, very interesting. So, yeah. Now, this has got a lot of the paint on it, the ink pad. So we can just wipe this off. And I can clean this up later where, you know, the rubbing crayon, you know, has added a little bit of stain to the baking sheet. Honestly, it doesn't bother me so much, but I can certainly fix it later. I'm going to go ahead right now and put another one down. Oops, this is wet still. Hello. Paper towel, paper towel. That's better. Okay, so we know this is hot because I just burned the poop out of my finger, right? Are you allowed to say poop on the internet? I don't know, I think you are. I'm going to try to make these lines a little bit wider this time. I don't want it to fall apart, but I'm definitely going to keep the other one. Now, the other thing you can do with these little hot glue parts is you can just use them in your work as a collage element. You could paint them, you could put alcohol ink on them, because they're going to be non-porous. And I think alcohol ink would love hanging out on this, seriously. Oh, I left the stencil under there. You know what? That's probably okay, because as you know, our stencils are manufactured out of mylar, which is naturally a heat resistance substance. Okay, so let's put that there. Put the little stand down. And then I am going to unplug this right away so that I don't forget. Because that is the only downside with using one that has a plug, right? And then I'm going to bring this back over top like I did before and just gently bring the brayer over it so that it's somewhat flat. And I find that that is a great way, if it retains that bumpy surface of how you put the glue down and it has little nodules of glue, it's fine, but you won't get as much of paint coverage, you know, when you go to put it down. Like here, where I obviously took 2 swipes. And when you try this, you'll figure it out and you'll know what seems to be a better way to work. It'll just make sense in certain ways. So, but I really like the ability to just take the stencil one step further and do something a little bit different with it and create another piece that will help me to enhance my work. So I hope that you have found this to be a fun tutorial and that you will consider doing this yourself and send me pictures. I want to see what everybody does. Let's pull this back up. Oh, that was a really fat one up there. And I missed brayering it down. Seriously, you guys, you'll have to make several. Trust me. I would be embarrassed to admit how long I've been working on making this video. Okay, so this one is much wider, which is actually kind of cool, I think. I do like that. Let me get my piece of paper back here. Here's my paper, and I'm gonna try this one now with the ink pad. Oh yeah. I like how I got some thinner and some wider parts, and you can see how that one part had trouble picking up the ink. And that was where I missed brayering it. Oh gosh, I really love the contrast of how this one picks up the ink versus this more linear one. Very, very interesting. Oh yeah, these are gonna make some awesome collage parts. No doubt about it. I hope you enjoyed this. Go make some stamps out of your stencils. I can't wait to see them. Take care.